My buddy Derek, once again, takes me to a creek and he wants to find all the damn arrowheads and leave me blanked. Look at this one. He has found a smoker. I mean a smoker, Buck Creek, laying right up on top there. Can you see that? Let me get some pictures up before you pick it up. Needle point, everything intact. Perfectly intact. Whew, okay, pick it up, brother. Oh, that's a nice one.
Oh, man.
Oh, wow. Beautiful. Perfect. Go rinse it off in that water. Let's get a shot of it. So, I don't know. I'm gonna have to stop going with this guy here. All right, flip it over. There you go. You keep finding all the good stuff, Derek. You know, you should leave me something. All right, we're going on. Hopefully I can find something. Woo! Man, what a point. It's out for a little Sunday stroll today. Now we made it onto a trail. A wetlands trail. I've never been here before, amazingly. And deer. Thought I heard something. Okay, this is our third creek today. We've been through hell to get to this spot, I'm telling you right now. My buddy just found that smoker. I think it might be a motley and not a Buck Creek, but I just walked up on my first one today. And it looks like it's going to be a knife blade. I hope you guys can see it through that water. Yeah, it's going to be hard to take a picture of it for sure. There we go. Okay, so I'm gonna pick it up. Nice. What do you think about that one, brother?
Nice.
Nice blade. See if I can take a picture of it here. Okay, so at least I found one today. We still got some looking to do. So here we go. You ready? Here we go. It's a hot one today, my friends. Really hot. What a great day to take you guys down to the river bottoms. Western Kentucky. Maybe read an email to you guys. we are. Green River Road, number 1. Number 2 is several miles to the right. Let's go down here and see what's up. That's interesting right there. This limb was just a tree actually broke right over like that. Down here in the thick of Bigfoot country, that's for sure. Henderson, Kentucky. Right next to the Green River. See the river there, barge. There's my truck. All right. Hello everyone, welcome back. Appreciate you being here. It's a hot day today. I'm down in the river bottoms next to the Green River. The Green River is right here to my left. Put some bug spray on. I didn't think about it. So we've had a couple of weeks of really nice weather, but I think all that's over with now. The heat's back. But it's a beautiful day. It's a good day. Every day's a good day that you put your feet on the floor. Okay. Get back to some of these messages that you guys have written me. This one is from Crystal down in Georgia. Hi Barton. In 2017, my husband and I were out riding on our Harleys from visiting my mother's. On our way home, we decided to take the scenic route and go past a quarry in Tate, Georgia, and up a road called McLean Mountain Road. It was early fall, dusk, and beautiful out. Everything was still green. I remember I wore my old leather jacket as it was cooling off. I was in the front, and my husband followed me. We turned right, excuse me. We turned right in an immediate left, and we were on McLean Mountain. This road winds steeply up the mountain with many turns, but it is short. Maybe in 7 to 10 minutes you can be up it and at the stop sign at the end. There's nowhere to pull over on this country road, and it is pitch black already because of the Georgia jungle. There are a few homes sparsely spaced on the top of the mountain, and it was dark. I remember only my headlights showing me what was before me. We were moving steadily up the hill at 10 miles an hour, the fastest and safest speed, when we turned into a brief straight shot. Still climbing steadily up, a pair of abnormally spaced out white eyes appeared out of nowhere on the road ahead. I let off the throttle, and in these few seconds everything slowed down. The eyes were perfectly round but huge, and I thought it was a deer until it dawned on me that this deer was deaf or something. We were making so much noise through this road, which trailed low in the pass of the mountain, that she should have heard us back when we were practically at its base. The acoustics of this road were short and precise, as the cutout of it was no wider than 30 to 40 feet in breadth. The lethargic attention to our advancement was strange. Then the eyes did something strange. Unblinking, they floated left across the road, dipped down a few feet, rose and drifted off until it disappeared. I rode past and saw a huge curtain of kudzu sway the vines. I shut my mouth, twisted the throttle hard, and shot up out of there. I stopped at the stop sign long enough for my husband to catch up. I was stunned. I know this road, but at night in the pitch black I had expected it to rise higher beneath me, judging by where the height of the eyes were, and it didn't. It wasn't even close. I told my husband what I saw, and we finished a short ride home where I explained what happened to him in detail. He looked worried but brushed it off. Well, Crystal, that's most people for you. They disregard what they don't understand or can't understand. So she goes on to write more of her experiences. There's a farm in North Georgia where I work, and on it stays 5 horses amongst some rolling hills. This part of the property is mostly clear of trees and runs east down a valley to a bubbling, rushing creek, then tees along the creek by way of north to south. The entirety of the acreage comes to 60-something acres and is mostly wooded. It is away down the road, separate from the main farm, and I am the farmhand there. Halfway up the side of the western hill is a decently large excavated area for the horse's new pen. On it is a 60 by 40 foot metal building that is just 2 walls and a red roof. Attached to one wall is an enclosed room that is built in, and it runs the length of the building. This is used for tack and hay. Under the roof, the floor is M10 sand, and rock is open for the horses to run through and is called such. A part of their enclosure cuts up into the woods where they can get shade during the hot months. We call this place the Horses Forest or the Horse Fort. There's an already established barbed wire fence secured on the wooden posts that provide the barrier to the entire cleared valley from the woods. At this new enclosure, it corners sharply up into the horses' forest, cuts right and back down to the valley. When I first started helping out in the early fall of the previous year, they were up on the westernmost section available to them, which is the hilltops clearing on the grass, every time I went to go see them. Including this, the horses had free range all up and down the valley, but my boss said that they don't go over to the north end anymore. They stay away from it. She said that she thinks there might be a predator over there, and I thought the same, that they didn't like it there. So, thinking no more of it, we blocked it off for hay. The horses still had quite a few good acres to run, but after this incident that I'm about to tell you, they now only hang out in the valley and not up in the west. I remember being fearful of them during this time because of their strange behavior, and if they are penned up, they wouldn't be able to escape this predator. So naturally, I was reluctant to finish putting up the fence and brought up my concern to my manager, who didn't think it was a big deal. So, on a sunny day in the winter of 2020, I was putting up the plastic fence post to set up an electric ribbon fence to keep the horses up in a controlled leveled area as they were getting fat on the sweetgrass. Excuse me. If you are unfamiliar with horses, they can eat themselves to death, and sugar can be detrimental to their health at times. Between the time before winter had passed and not long after this incident that I'm about to tell you, 2 of the horses started with the youngest, who was most inquisitive, had acquired a vertically slanted 3-inch long scratch down the left side of the bridge of the nose. Exactly in the same spot, same width, same depth, same length. The 2 horses were mother, Cat, and daughter, Gracie. Cat is a very intelligent and, due to past abuse from previous owners, is shy and reluctant to approach strange new things, even familiar things that trigger bad memories. She also is always found separate from the herd, enjoying her solitude. Horses are also very curious. These bugs are bad out here. Horses are also very curious. They are like 5-year-olds and will get into everything. It is possible that they got snagged on barbed wire trying to reach through the fence. After checking the fences, there was nothing out of place or needing repairing. One day I had a wheelbarrow before me filled with plastic posts and a huge ball of tangled metal-laced or plastic ribbon that I began to work on. The sky was clear blue with a few brilliant white clouds scattered sparsely here and there, and horses were up on the top of the slope munching away at all the grass. After coming back outside from the tack room to grab the wire cutters, I walked to the back of the run-through to admire the beauty, and a cool breeze stirred through the leaves above me for a minute. The hill climbed before me into the horses' forest, and a crow called strangely to my left. I watched him pass above to my right, heading east, down from the mountain. He was just above the canopy of the trees and moving steadily, cawing low once every few seconds. Suddenly the sound of thundering hooves vibrated the earth, and I spun around and ran to the opposite opening just in time to see the tails of the herd fly by like flags down the slight slope. I missed the majority, but got to that side just as Cat brought up the rear a few seconds later, and watched her go at breakneck speed down to the flat part of the valley to my left. I thought, and I walked back to my wheelbarrow. They must be running from something. I picked up the basketball-sized tangle and begun lightly pulling strings. Horses spook easily. They are, after all, a prey animal, but they also have different styles of running.
They also have different styles of running, playful, angry, and frightened, and when you get to know them, just like your dog or cat, you can make out their emotions sometimes. This was a fearful run, a getaway quickly run. It wasn't 5 seconds and I heard a concentrated swelling wind move from the further wood into the corner of the barbed wire fence and stop on the wood side, directly past a structure behind me. What was odd was that I felt like it brought something strange with it. Now, I am not a prey animal. It was a beautiful hot day for winter, and there is nothing out here that could bother me except for the occasional mountain lion or black bear, which they tend to run from humans, and besides I carry a 9mm, but this was heavy. I looked over my shoulder and saw nothing but the tan metal building and red brick roof, brightly reflecting the shining sun. I looked back at my job. I couldn't focus. There was something there and it was huge and disturbing, so I began to pray. I breathed a prayer for protection over this land, the horses' safety, and my own. I rebuked anything evil that might be in the area in Jesus' name. As I recited Psalms 91 as best to my memory, behind me I heard the wind swell as if a large dust devil swirled, travel over the fences, cross the level dirt, and land on the metal roof with a soft metallic ba-bang. I thought, and I froze. Contrary to all things logical, I couldn't look behind me at the danger. There, I knew, and I don't know how, but something scouted from its group to see what disturbed the atmosphere. I've heard of people having near-death experiences in traffic and having an out-of-body view. They see a beam of light beaconing into the sky from the random cars. These were people praying for them, the deceased. Naturally, they've lived and have told what they witnessed. This story entered my mind, and it is my belief that the thing saw something and was sent or came of its own to investigate the disruption. But I could not look behind me at whatever it was that was on that roof. I prayed again and harder this time. Suddenly, a sharp pain stabbed at the base of my neck on the left side. It was simultaneously dull, like a restriction, and painfully sharp. Now praying against any evil will toward me, I felt it travel up my carotid and to my left temple, causing it to pulse horribly. I pressed my temple with my fingers to stop the pain, but it didn't work. That's it, I thought, freaked out. I'm done with this. I dropped the tangled mess in the wheelbarrow and briskly walked away, but making sure not to run while I kept the sacred connection with the Creator. Excuse me, guys, it's hard to read while I'm being eaten alive by these bugs. I left everything there and did not look behind me. I got into the truck, started it, and drove calmly down to the valley, the strange presence fading as I got further away. My heart slowed down and I could breathe. I stopped at the horses and felt it was safe, so I got out but left the truck running. My head continued to throb and there still was a sharp pain in my neck. I rebuked it under my breath in Jesus' name, saying that I did not accept it. That is the key. Oh, so I'm not the only one down here today. Hopefully dust from the gravel road doesn't affect us. That is the key. Whatever the enemy tries to give you, do not accept it. You give him entry, he will wreak havoc in any way he can. John 10:10-11. The thief cometh not, but for to steal, and to kill, and to destroy. I am come that they might have life, and that they might have it more abundantly. I am the good shepherd. The good shepherd giveth his life for the sheep. Are you guys okay? I said to the only gelding, Bailey, who's a draft mix. What was that? A few of them raised their heads to look at me as if in acknowledgement, then continued eating. Their calm demeanor made me at ease, so I got back in the truck after one more prayer over them and drove away to my next project. The pain in my head and neck did not subside for 45 minutes. The days went by. I got that job done, and the horses were now on a routine of time between eating grass and up in the new pen. When I visit them, they hear the work truck approaching, and I call to them when I'm walking up so they know it's me. But this time, when they saw me come around the corner of the metal building, they were extremely frightened of me. With eyes wide and nostrils flared, they would start sometimes spinning sharply on the back legs to desperately run from me. Even if I stood there calling to them, they would run up the hill away from me. It took at least 20 minutes of talking to them and telling them it's okay, it's just me, to get them to calm down. I was so confused. I did feel a residual trail on my path to them of something wicked, harboring malicious intent and trickery, as if someone was impersonating me and terrorizing the poor horses during my short absence. I also noticed that this happened the mornings after holidays. As many of us know, our current culture's holidays cover pagan practices. They are a cleanse or a covering. When we celebrate the Lord's birth, His ride on a mere donkey into Jerusalem, death and resurrection, the real date matters not, only that it happened and that it was chosen to be over wicked time frames. This became evident to me after my visit to the distressed horses, and I'm in distress right now over these bugs. This kept happening through the set of 3 full moons on the very last days of the new year. I finally was getting annoyed with the poor horses' stress, so I decided to do something I've only tried with oil for myself and another personal situation to save them from being harassed. From a single bar, I made about 20 rebar crosses, all near 7 inches in length and 4 inches across. I tack welded them together and prayed over the pile of metal. I prayed over me, the material, and the finished product, reading Psalms 59 over it, and that this barrier should last as long as the earth endures. Then I took these and going into the pasture and all along the barbed wire fence, dug a foot deep into the earth and buried each one. I had created a spiritual wall from the top of the western pasture where the old hemlock tree is. Bolt. All the way down to the corner of the excavated area north, up through the horses' forest, then turning east and finally running out at the base of the hill beside the gate of the north end of their pasture in the valley. The end of the 2020 year was a long full moon, and I remember the horses being constantly agitated. But after I made those crosses and embedded them in the earth, the visit to the run-through was peaceful. The horses were calm and back to normal. Surely that boat isn't going to land here of all the places on this rear it can land. 3 days later, after the barrier was placed, I was at home in bed asleep. I was dreaming when all of a sudden it was interrupted. This was vivid and so clear, but I was not awake. I will never forget it. In the shadow stood a large, dark wolf standing on 2 human-like legs. I could not see his feet, as they were not there by way of something that I couldn't make out. It was blocking my view, but I could see them from the thigh on up. It had huge human shoulders and long arms that hung down at its side, elbows slightly out, as if it were hunched over a bit, but strong and massive. Below the very built latissimus dorsi, there was a straight, narrow, yet strong waist. This was probably so narrow because of how large everything else was. The chest was very muscular, and the entirety of this beast was covered in dark fur that I couldn't make out if it was dark gray or black, as this vision was strangely monochromatic toned. All of it was humanish. The vision was also moving oddly, not the vision itself, but something moving over and around it in the blackness. The thing stood there, hatred on its completely wolf face, wrinkles between its intelligent gray, yellow eyes, and on the top of its muzzle, before a glistening canine nose. It had ears that pointed straight up and longer hair sticking out of the sides on its neck that triangulated the head. I did not see genitalia, and even though it was covered with fur and shadows, it was still naked, and I didn't look because it was so close to a human man. It was a he, given by its presence and everything else. Upon looking closer at the moving shadows over the thing, I realized that the movement mimicked leaves in the wind. This thing was in the woods. There was a wind. Was it possible that this is happening in real time? Am I asleep, I thought. I checked and knew that I was. I was stuck with this monster. I couldn't believe this. It then raised its left hand, wrist, bent, and pointer finger extended further at the knuckle to compensate for the downward angle. The rest of the 3 fingers and thumb didn't completely create a pointer's fist, as if from another habitual use. All of these were never fully extended. It was crooked, but not by way of deformity. The fingers were wicked looking, ending in razor-sharp black shiny nails. It loosely pointed to something that slowly appeared in the air beside it. "You think that will save you?" it said in a deep, gruff voice, and lowered its hand to where it was resting before, waiting for an answer from me. It was my Bible. The scratches, the gold Jimmy Swaggart signature inlay, the bookmark, more than halfway down the pages where I left it last, and the brown sheepskin leather binding, it was all mine. In full color, it floated there on nothing in the darkness. Anger grew in me towards this creature. The audacity of it being in the right of stalking the horses for want of food, malicious pleasure, or for sport was astounding. Not only that, but that he intruded intimately on me to bully me. I wanted to say in defiance, "It already has. That's only paper and binding to keep pests out. Jesus already did that." And I wanted to say, "I rebuke you in Jesus Christ's name." But I knew if I answered this prideful jerk in that way, it wouldn't be the last time I saw this thing. I kept my initial answers to myself, and admittedly scared, I exited the dream by coiling up into a ball. I could feel myself grow smaller in size until I was able to wake up. Oh, so that's how you do it. Excellent. I sat up in bed, shaking a little from anger or the encounter, I don't know which. Maybe it was both. It was about 1:30 a.m. I now hate that I responded to that thing the way I did, but there is a power there that I cannot comprehend. It's so much more than physical strength. It's on a whole nother level. I can't even explain it. Because of my timid response, I have not received a visit in my dreams since, but I did see several huge shadows in my backyard one night. They were moving under the shade of the trees, dodging in the darkness through the brush and crouching behind the Comanche truck when I would look out the window from my bathroom. The shadows effortlessly moved over the 2 to 3 foot wide ditch that was for heavy water flow during rains. I then buried the same crosses on my property, and it didn't happen again. After this whole thing, I put together that strange wind that had checked my garbage at 10 o'clock one night and moved around the corner of my house some months before. I let it fall back onto the side of the house where the living room is. The garbage is It let it fall back onto the side of the house where the living room is. The garbage is a plastic bin with the hinged lid and is kept behind a stout, thick bush that hides it from the road. The wind, after it turned left to go around the back of the house, had checked in a grocery bag from Home Depot that was left on the back porch from a job we were doing that day. It was 7 feet off the ground. Something was moving deliberately around the house. It too had a presence and was concentrated wind. An update on the farm is there have been strange muddy prints on the top of the freshly painted valley gate with scratches in them. It's as if something with rough hands was jumping over the fence. And she sent it. Thank you, Crystal. We sure appreciate that. Appreciate you sharing that information with us. All information is valuable, and we need all we can get. So we'll have another boat coming down the river. Looks like boat traffic's picking up. So I'll break this off and pick up again next time. Thanks everyone for coming, spending a few minutes with me today. And hopefully I'll see you again soon. Okay, take care and God bless.